Thank you to distinguished guests, honored faculty, and parents, but especially thank you to the University of New Hampshire's graduating class of 2014. It's so fabulous to be back, just like old times. I first came to this campus when I was just 14. I sat on a bench and thought, this is what college is supposed to feel like. And it really does feel like that I was just here yesterday. So much so that when I was asked to be the commencement speaker, my first reaction was, I am way too young. But then my sister so kindly pointed out that I was 42, twice your age. Then I moved on to a worse thought, which was, I'm not good enough to be the commencement speaker. And ultimately, it was that horrible thought that made me say yes. It did, because in that moment, I realized there might be something during my few extra rounds on this planet that might be used to you. And it has something to do with self-doubt, something I'm a bit of an expert on. No matter what we are doing, Jennifer Lee, the author of Frozen, reminds us that we deserve to believe in ourselves and to use that belief to fuel our projects and our actions. In her commencement speech at the University of New Hampshire, she seeks to impress this idea upon the new graduates. And I hope we can all take this lesson to heart and let go of our own self-doubt. My sister and I grew up in a poor street in a really rich town. It was bad enough that everyone in America was wearing 70s clothes. But guess what? We were in hand-me-down 70s clothes. My hair was full of knots. Goodness, I was the perfect target for bullies. And guess what? I was bullied for years. And something happens to you when everything you do is just fuel for mockery. And then something happened. I noticed I wasn't alone in this feeling of not being good enough. And it all started while back in film school, when I met a man named Phil Johnstein. He was, in my opinion, the most talented person back in the program. And back in grad school, he thought I was good enough to work with. And one day, he made me promise to do something that would change my life forever. He said, you can be as insecure as you want, but just promise me you'll leave that insecurity out of your work. And I did. 6 months later, I got 2 film options, and I got my first paycheck as a screenwriter. 1 year later, Phil and I were writing Wreck-It Ralph. And then came Frozen. If I've learned one thing, it's that self-doubt is one of the most destructive forces. It makes you defensive instead of open, reactive instead of active. Self-doubt is consuming and cruel, and my hope is that today we can all collectively agree to ban it. Think about it. How many hours you spend analyzing yourself? Your looks, your hair, too thin, too straight, too curly. One side note, being good enough doesn't let you off the hook to just be lazy. It's not just like some free pass to get out of changing, growing, and maturing. No, it's just that when you are free from self-doubt, you fail better. You don't become so preoccupied with that failure that you forget how to learn from it. Hours spent questioning, doubting, and fearing can be given over to working, exploring, living. You will still fail a lot. In fact, people will say right to your face, that is not good enough. But if you can learn to not take it personally, you will be able to listen to the constructive criticism, and you might find it inspiring. I will say, if I had made the first draft of Frozen, if I'd been too insecure and listened to the constructive criticism and wasted my time trying to prove that I was good enough, instead of using that time to make Frozen what it needed to be, it would have been a far different movie. And I guarantee you, I wouldn't be standing right here, right now. Can we go ahead and ban self-doubt right now? So if I can leave you with one thing today, please know that from here on and out, you are enough. And I dare say more than than enough. Thank you and congratulations.